Good morning and welcome to our Year 4 maths lesson. So let's start by writing the short date and underlining it, and writing the learning objective and underlining that. I can count forwards and backwards from any number to 30. I can count number patterns on a dice and dominoes accurately. And good morning, it's with me, Miss Dowley. I am going to minimise me just to help. So let's start by seeing if you can count forwards and backwards to 30. Pause this video whilst you have a try. Then start at 19 and count forwards to 30. Then start at 22 and count backwards to 9. Pause this video and have a go. So we're going to have a look at some tricky numbers. So we looked at 11 and 12, and hopefully you can remember these now and where they sit on the number line. Today we're going to have a look at number 13 and number 15. Now the numbers hopefully follow a pattern for most of the time, but there are the teen numbers where they don't tend to. We saw that in 11 and 12 didn't follow the pattern, and we have two other numbers, number 13 and number 15. Now if they did follow the pattern, they would be 3-teen and 5-teen, but they don't. So one handy way to try and think about them is that third, which means 3, is the start of 13. So hopefully if you can think about third, that might help you remember that that is 3 and 10, so 13. And the same for 15. Okay, if we can try and remember fifth, which means 5, that might help us to try and remember 15. The best thing to do is to try and remember where they sit on the number line. And 13 sits in between 12 and 14, and 15 sits in between 14 and 16. So let's recap some of the counting from yesterday using the number line below. So I'll read them out and then you pause the video to have a practice. So start at 0 and count to 30 and then back. Start at 9 and count forwards to 30. Start at 30 and count back to 11. Start at 21 and count back to 3. Start at 15 and count forwards to 30. Pause the video and have a try. Now try counting without the number line. And this is quite important to try and remember to picture the number line in your head. So again, I'll read out what I want you to do and then you pause the video whilst you have a try. So start at 0 and count to 30. Start at 30 and count back to 0. Start at 23 and count back to 0. Start at 9 and count forwards to 22. Start at 30 and count back to 19. Start at 28 and count back to 16. Pause this and have a try. If you found any of these difficult, or if there were any numbers that you found difficult, such as 29, 20 and 12, maybe 13 and 15, go back to practicing with the number line until you feel confident to try without. Try and picture the number line in your head, as it will really help you. So we're going to have a look at some counting first, and we're going to look at counting strategies to help you count accurately. So we're going to start by counting objects you can move. Now, I can move these on the screen, but at home, if you've got some objects that you could use to help you, that you could move, such as Lego bricks, you could use those as well. So here are some baby Yodas, and we're going to count them. So first of all, how many do you think there are? So when counting objects, I like to move them into a line. The reason that I do this is because it gives me a good place to start and a clear place to finish. When they're like this, I can sometimes become muddled with my counting. Like I might start here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I forget which ones I've actually counted. Whereas if I move my objects into a line, actually, I know where I've got to start and I know where I've got to finish. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So how many were there? There were 7. So let's have another go using different objects. So this one time I've got Mr. Potato Heads. And again, if I look at these here, oh, it's quite tricky to count. So I might start here and I might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I start to get lost. But again, if I move the objects into a line, it gives me a clear starting place and a clear finish. And I make sure I point to each one as I say a number name. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there were 10 Mr. Potato Heads. Try and find some objects at home that you can practice counting with. Toys, Lego bricks, sweets, anything you can find. Grab a pile and then practice putting them into a line as you count. And you can do this lots and lots of times, have different sets of amounts and then try putting them into a line each time you count them. Pause this video whilst you give it a go. So quite often at school, you're counting objects you can't move. They might be on a piece of paper, they might be on a whiteboard. So we can't always move things into a line. So when we can't make it easier for ourselves by moving the objects, we have to find another strategy instead. So first of all, how many spots are on this domino? Pause this video and have a try at counting. So there were 6 spots. Did you get that right? Now this domino was probably quite easy to count, but to show you, I always find a good starting place that will make my counting easier. So I started my count here and then I counted down. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that was almost like a line. So now try counting the spots on this domino. How many spots did you count? So here's where I started, and this time I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did you count out your spots the same way? Now try this one. Ooh. So how did you get on? So again, I started my count here and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there were 11 spots. Did you count the same? When counting objects you can't move, it is quite easy to get muddled. Find a good starting point and move from one side to the other. So try counting how many spots are on the dominoes below. Pause this video whilst you have a go. So here are the answers. How did you get on? Did you manage to get the same as me? Pause whilst you mark. So, can you make your own dominoes game? So use the template below to draw your own dominoes and then see if someone at home can play it with you. If not, play it on your own. But have fun doing this. Thank you.